Thank you for tuning in to the Untouchable Jessica Joan podcast. I'm Jessica Joan, and this is the safe space where we talk about the real stuff that no one's really talking about. So we're going to be diving into courage, clarity, and getting over shit. Because I know you got shit, we all got shit, and we need to get over it. So thank you for joining me on this ride. Here we go. The other person is you. When you unlock the chain to your brain, your heart can finally be set free, and clearly your eyes can see. Everything is fleeting and falling. Eternity lies with those evolving. Solid kiss, an undying wish. Only the autumn leaves turn brown. Only you can turn it all around. Of forever you speak? Your voice must not be meek, for in the darkness silence rises. Prepare for all the surprises. Remember that you are strong, that your strength will carry you along. Alone you face the bittersweet embrace of life's beautiful and unwavering taste. It shall linger on your lips and slide down your throat. Trust your breath and have faith that you'll float. Remember, it's all just a game, the lights and the fame. Be careful not to fall too far. There is hurt and battle scars. Live and gaze amongst the stars. Always remember the beauty in who you are. This is a sacred ride, a magical trip. Just let go and have yourself a little dip. The sun will rise and the sun will set. Don't worry about what hasn't happened yet. All due things happen in due time. God rewards those who conquer the climb. An open mind and an open heart will put you ahead and set you apart. Rise above, be bolder than the rest. Always shine your brightest and best. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Untouchable Jessica Joan podcast. Woo, we're getting to the end of the season. So crazy. Can't believe we're here, that I'm here. And it goes totally perfect into today's topic, lesson number 9, finding your truth and living your purpose. This is such a big one. I feel like I say that about all of these lessons because, they're all important. But it's a really crazy thing to think about for me, being in this moment, having a podcast, talking about living in your purpose, because if you only knew the journey that it took to get here and the many lifetimes I have lived. And that's really what I want to share with you guys today and dive deep into, because I feel like everyone is born knowing what they want to do. Me and my mentor were talking about this, and it's like we're all born knowing what we're meant to do, for the most part, like that burning desire and feeling inside of us. And then we go on this journey to get back to remembering what that is. And that's even one of the, huge themes in my book, and is remembering. Because, society and the TV and all the advertisements really, confuse us. But we already know. It's really apparent even for me when I was a little small wee one. And so my mom was a nurse. And she worked with the children in the pediatric care, ICU, and the NICU. And so she would bring me along with her when she'd go to work. And, I remember all of this really vividly. And she would also tell me about these stories. But I loved spending time with the children. And there was one in particular, this little girl who she was like my best friend in there. And she had cancer. And, she had her hair shaved and everything. And just my favorite thing would just to be in her crib with her and just play with her. And that's just something inherently inside of me where I just love to make people feel happy. Like, this is even when I was in high school and I went to a lot of different schools, I didn't just hang out in one group. I would bounce around, and there was even a time where I snuck into the ceramics class because my best friend had that for sixth period, and there was this group of like heavy metal goth rockers. And, they mostly kept to themselves. But there was one in particular, I just would look at him and he looked kind of sad. So I just found myself like introducing myself and hey, and then, just making ceramics with him and then became friends, even made me like this punk rock mixtape CD. And that's something that I knew that always drove me. But I didn't really have an awareness of it. It's just was something inherent in me. But along my journey, something that I knew that I wanted to do when I was a little kid, which is very apparent from my childhood photos, is that I wanted to model. So at first, that was my first dream and my first goal is like, I want to model. I just loved being in front of the camera. One might say even a ham in front of the camera. It's so funny. I actually really don't like that term, but it's so funny. Anyways, and so then I pursued that. I started to pursue that, especially when I moved to LA, and that was fulfilling to a certain degree, but it still wasn't enough. And then I came across that book, the Ivana Chubbuck book, and then I thought, oh, maybe acting. But the thing with acting that's so funny in my relationship with it is that first came to me as a thought intellectually. Like I thought, oh, wow, I can do this because I have a wealth of things to draw from. So it wasn't like in my heart at first. But part of that is also because I hadn't healed my trauma. So there was this resistance that I had with acting because in order to be a great, actor or an artist, like you really need to get to the depths of your truth and your emotions. And I knew I had it in me. I knew I have all this raw, real, intense depth of emotion, but I couldn't access it. And so it was really hard. I trained with different coaches and different teachers, and, some of them got me to different places. But then at that point, there was something I loved about it because I got to express myself. And that's something I didn't really get to do other than, my poetry and, not even really in my friendships because I wasn't in a space of feeling safe to share the depths of how I feel. So I was really closed off from myself. So how could I even know what my passion is and my purpose is if I'm just completely disconnected from my own truth? And so, a lot of things played out where, I'm now pursuing acting. And I was in Hollywood running around doing Hollywood girl things. And I had these girlfriends, these really attractive girlfriends, and they said they wanted to be actresses. But the reality is they were party girls. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't know. So then I'm not even really pursuing acting because I'm actually partying because I'm getting distracted because I didn't know my purpose. And then, and then I started to go full on with my modeling. This is everything leading up to before I start taking the ESP classes in NXIVM. And now I'm making good money. I'm booking jobs. I'm about to take it to the next level. I'm getting focused. But something inside was off. Like I felt like I was dying. My soul was just dying inside. Like thank God I had open mic poetry nights because that was literally my lifeline of saving my soul. And so when I took the first ESP class, I was so revitalized because now I'm really sharing how I feel. Now I'm going to the depths of the ocean within myself. And not only that, I'm around people that were supporting this expression, that were supporting my vulnerability without judgment, with total care. So I clicked back into my purpose. And for me, it was such a shocking thing to even see that people could do this as a job. That, wow, you can actually be successful doing things to help people. Like in my jaded mind of my Hollywood, LA life experience, I thought, oh, you have to be rich first. before you can help people and do that. Like, that's actually a hobby, to be a philanthropist and a good person. Like, I didn't think you could actually live a life doing that professionally. So that was my first time seeing that as a possibility and realigning and remembering what my purpose was. Like, it wasn't fully ignited there, but it started that path of remembering. And so, went to Albany, bunch of things happened, and then I went back to Hawaii and had a whole experience there where it allowed me to really take away and shed all of these beliefs that I had about myself, all of these patterns of survival, and really get me to a core vulnerable place where I started to remember who I was, where I got to really connect with my spirit and my higher self. Because the reality is, I was always seeking. I was seeking for a deeper sense of who I am. Like, who am I? What am I supposed to do here? Like, I knew this not regular, but this human experience of what society shows us was not it. Like, that was not going to be enough for me. Like, my soul has been here a lot of times, many lifetimes. I knew there was something more. And I knew that there was a fire inside of me, one that I avoided listening to for a long time because there's a lot of responsibility to take on a role of wanting to help people, especially by sharing one's story. It takes a lot of guts. So for anyone and everyone out there who's living authentically and sharing their truth in whatever capacity, high fucking five, because that shit is not easy. But that's in being of service. And that's what my purpose is, to be of service. And it's funny because I'm living it now. It's really crazy. It's just a whole combination of all the things coming through from the book, from even sharing my poetry in these podcasts, from being vulnerable and talking to you guys. That's, I never, and I don't want to say I never, but I always knew I was going to get to this place, but now I'm actually living it. And that is the most wonderful feeling, because it took so much misdirection, falling on my face over and over again, getting my heart broken over and over again, and building myself back up to just keep going along my path. And so when you're looking for your purpose, it's not a race. This is a marathon. And you might think that you're going in one direction and be so sure even, and then boom, life shows you something else and you get a deeper remembering. I mean, there's one story that I love that's so inspiring, the comedian and doctor Ken Jeong. So like literally, he's actually, oh my gosh, so funny. I just said literally, and my friend Keenan was like, hey, just be careful when you're saying literally. Just remembering this right now. Hey guys, shout out. But he was an actual doctor, or is an actual doctor, but he had a love of comedy, and that's what he wanted to do. So, he became a doctor, and on the side was pursuing, comedy, and now look at him. Now he's a huge star doing all of these movies, and and that's just to show you that there's no right or wrong way. Life is not linear. And so with this journey of mine, so now I went through this experience. I was pursuing, the entertainment industry and being an artist a little haphazardly. Then I'm like, I need to go deep into my heart space and be of service, but I need to do the work to be able to figure out what that even is. And then, boom, I go to Hawaii. I'm like really getting the training to really stand in exactly who I am. And then, boom, I'm back in LA. Now I'm like, okay, well, what am I doing? There's so many times that I ran away from acting, or even feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough, or just not even liking the superficiality of the industry and like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. And so getting to this place now where I see the beauty of what is possible. Not only that, I took on my purpose and passion when I lived it fully by creating my short film. So in the midst of all of this, I also spent almost a month in France with my dear friend Hugo Valentine, incredible director, and made it happen. I have this poem, and I wanted to turn it into I wanted to do a poetry film, movie. And so I made it happen, and I went to France and shot this film, and I got to see myself as the lead, as the creator, and really see what I was capable of doing. So I was so caught up in all these ideas and these limitations of what's possible and not wanting to just be a part of a machine. And then here I am just living my purpose, sharing my truth, living my art. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And it reignited my passion for acting. I didn't ever not want to be an actor, but I'm also an artist. I'm a creator. And then when I got to see clearly that this is an opportunity for me to tell all these different stories, to play all these different parts of myself that maybe I don't get to express all the time, to use my vessel to shed my light through a projection of a screen and give that with the intention, which is the term that I created, evolutionary storyteller, because I want people to have an experience. I want them to feel these feelings, and that's what's so beautiful about being a creator and with art is we can help people move people in that way. And then I also had this realization that, if I want to be a great actor, then I just have to be a great person. Because if I want to be a great person, if you're a great actor, it's because you understand humanity without judgment, with full empathy, with full vulnerability. I was like, oh, wow, this is two in the same. And so now I am fully living in my purpose. Obviously my being of service was not the way that I planned. I didn't think, oops, I'm going to accidentally join a cult and that's how I'm going to be able to tell my story and, share all of my insides with everyone publicly on this world stage. Definitely was not my intention in this way. But you know what? That's the journey that Spirit put me on. That's me living in my purpose. And is it scary? 100%. Did it give me a lot of anxiety? You wouldn't believe. But now that I've surrendered to it and I'm honoring the space that I'm in and my journey and embracing all of it is why I can even do this podcast right now. It's like, this is my purpose. I am doing it. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to feel myself, share my story, and even if I just help one person, that's all I care about. Because at the end of the day, if we look at the beginning of my life and how I started, what brings me the most joy is helping make other people feel happy and feel seen and feel good. And that also comes from the place that I didn't feel happy or seen. People were seeing me, people were praising me, all these things, but to really be seen as my spirit, as my heart space, not just this external. And so now I'm blessed with this opportunity to do that. And it's so cool. And, so I feel like right now in society, it's so hard growing up this way. The millennials and the Gen Z, there's all this pressure. And with the internet and Instagram, this pressure to look a certain way, to have all these cars and these big houses, before you even, know who you are. So it's not a race. It is a journey. And that's the journey of life. And I think, the more that we can step back, slow down, reflect, contemplate, and really come from a space of asking the questions inside, will we be able to get to embrace this journey? Because at the end of the day, there is an end to this journey. There is an end. And so where are you racing to the end? Take a step, enjoy, smell the roses, go to the beach, have a laugh, take a path you wouldn't normally take, and just feel it. Feel it all, because life is really beautiful if you let it be. Life also has its thorns and its jaggedness, but even all of that is to be embraced because this is the experience that we get. This is the human experience, to feel all of the feelings. There's some people out there who've never loved, they've never let their heart be broken. And those are the people that I feel super sad for because they're so afraid to really allow themselves to live that they're missing the whole experience. So my call to action for you all today is to sit with yourself. My favorite thing, sitting with yourself, maybe in a nice place where it's quiet, and just think about what brings you joy. What is the thing that just makes you so happy? Is it cooking? Is it painting? Is it gardening? What is the thing that just makes your heart sing? And that is one step to help you lead yourself to finding out what your purpose is. And then you can also think about, how can you do that? What are the different aspects and ways that you can be in an, let's say industry, or even creating your own business on your own, or joining an organization? Because life is really short, and if you're not living your life doing things that make you happy, what's the point? So thank you again, everyone. I am so grateful for you coming on this journey with me. We still have more episodes in store, and I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I wish you well, happiness, love, laughter, and I will catch you real soon. Thank you again for tuning in. It means the world to me. And if you enjoyed this podcast and this episode, it would be so helpful if you subscribe, like, or comment. And this will allow this podcast to grow and for it to reach as many people as it can. So thank you again so much.